Yo, what's going on? Welcome to Move Fast, Lift Heavy podcast. I'm co-host Joe Roscoe. Going to bring on our other co-host and founder of MFLH, Christian Harris, in just a second. But if you haven't liked or subscribed to the podcast yet, that would be greatly appreciated. If you are a returning listener or viewer on youtube.com/Move Fast, Lift Heavy, thanks so much. It does mean a lot to us in helping spread awareness about the brand. If you haven't tried out Train with CH yet, Christian Harris's exact training program, you can do so at movefastliftheavy.com, where you'll also be able to interact with CH, asking questions, getting feedback on your workout videos. Speaking of the man, maybe is he eating a pear over there? No, his pear is done. His jawline is tuned up, ready to go. Our guest for today was giving me some amazing insight about Brad Pitt and his chewing habits on set for his jawline. So Christian, he's got a puffy beard. Might have to shave that off. Let's give a look at him. Please welcome co-host, founder of MFLH, Christian Harris.
What up, y'all? How we doing?
What up, my man? Look at that jawline.
You can't see shit on here, man.
I know.
You can't see.
I'm just trying to get some flattery. Maybe you'll get me a gift card to a coffee store of your liking. You know, maybe you know a guy that could hook me up with some coffee as a gift for me talking about your jawline. What do you think?
I might. I know a guy.
You know a guy?
I got a guy. He dabbles in coffee.
He dabbles in a lot of things. He's a Renaissance man.
Yeah, I can relate. I can get around it. So let's bring him on. Let's just do the damn thing.
I'm ready for it.
We're gonna bring on our guest, Adam von Rothfelder.
Let's go. Welcome to the pod, Adam.
Did I say it correctly?
Yeah, man, you killed it. That was great. Nailed it. Yeah,
Precision.
Good job. Bing, score. You just earned yourself a new bag of coffee.
That's right.
What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being on. Tell us a little bit about that, like acting, like fitness background you got going on, because it's not going to be all things coffee. I'm really interested in like your background as a performer, as a trainer. How did you get started in all that?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like early on, I put a lot of emphasis into training and just like understanding physical movement, nutrition, really at a young age for a multitude of reasons. One, having ADHD and wanting to not take prescription medication and wanting to understand it more like internally so I could deal with it myself, whether that was developing like juggling skills for enhanced like cognitive focus or eating higher amounts of saturated fats to develop greater, cognitive function from acetylcholine in my brain. Right. So whatever it was, I was trying to learn about it. At the same time, my parents adopted a paralyzed kid from the hospital named Danye. He's been my brother now for 25 years. But at the time I was 12 and all of a sudden all the energy kind of shifted away from me, the baby of the family. And I, took to isolation and I had this weight set in my room and I just worked out and read a lot. And through that, I ended up kind of helping friends in like high school later on with training. And then as I graduated high school, I was helping young kids in high school, just like kind of out of like passion. It wasn't my job. I was actually a full-time union electrician. And through some tragedy, I lost my brother and to a drug overdose. And effectively my physicality and my ability to perform as an athlete, as a fighter, gave me an outlet. as I heard an ad on the radio for the Wisconsin's Toughest Man. And they were looking for a no holds barred fight tournament. And the same day that my brother died, after being denied to see his body because it was a suicide, effectively, I drove to the Harley Davidson dealership and I signed up for that fight. 2 weeks later, I fought, having never fought in my life, and I did really well. So, former soccer player, powerlifter, pulling high 500 deadlifts at 21 years old, had a lot to put behind a punch with a lot of anger at the same time. So that kind of was, that was harnessed by some locals in my hometown, a guy named Horace, the Real Deal Kraft. At the time, he was a 45-year-old professional kickboxer, in impeccable shape. Looks like he could be Chris's dad. I mean, just dude's like jacked, 54-year-old, now still fighting. It's fucking amazing. Tom Mueller, one of the world's best gi jiu-jitsu practitioners, took me under his wing. 3 months of training with him. After this fight, I won the Midwest North American Grappling Association tournament at 185. And at that time, I was still like a union electrician. And but I still had this passion for fitness and performance. And I kept learning that. I kept on training myself to be better. I wanted a 40-inch vertical, right? I wanted these certain things, and these things that I achieved through meeting other people like Jay Schroeder, the guy who trained Adam Archuleta, from ASU, and like working with Jay Schroeder and like understanding like neurofeedback. And, this is at like 24 years old, 25 years old. Now I'm achieving a 39-inch vertical. I'm running a 40 in a 4.455, right? Like I was doing these things from constant performance. My fighting started taking off. And just as I signed a contract, just as I was on this Showtime special, my shoulder exploded. And my left shoulder, same shoulder that I had a young injury at, like 18 on my rotator cuff, working as a landscaper, pounding in these like metal rails for just hours and hours a day. So that same shoulder had like a massive separation, no tears, which was a big problem because nobody would do surgery on it. There were just a bunch of slap lesions and excessive stretching to the tendons that kind of left my shoulder a little sloppy, let's just say. So I moved to LA. I was like, fuck this. 2008, the recession, right? So all of a sudden I'm no longer a full-time union electrician. I get laid off. First time I haven't worked full-time since 10 years, 12 years. And I'm 28. I have free money coming in from the government. I'm like, I'm going to go to LA and I'm going to see if there's anybody that can make me better. And I just kept working with people and I just kept learning more and more and more. And what I realized eventually is that I didn't want to fight anymore. I just wanted to help other people perform more and train more. Started working at a gym. And that's where I got back into training. And LA was, it was interesting. I was out there for maybe like a week and I'm getting movie auditions and like commercial auditions. And I ended up getting one and got this thing for like the ab rocket, twister or whatever. Right. And I was professional MMA fighter, Adam von Rothfelder. It's like the ab rocket, and it's like very right. And it paid the bills.
Yeah.
It paid the bills. While I was on set for that, another life-changing thing happens. I get a text from my sister that my dad was diagnosed with cancer. And I'm just like, fuck. Like it's just started happening here, like I seceded to the fact that I no longer was a fighter. Right. Like, let me tell you something, you're, when you get old enough to no longer be like this is my friend, the professional this, or, when that time comes, it's like, it's a hard pill to swallow when you're no longer identified with like the greatness that you've like achieved as a status and who you are and like all the accolades. And now I'm just a guy with funny ears, and So
but you're a guy with funny ears that no one's gonna mess with, because when you see those funny ears on the street, stay away from this guy.
Totally.
You know the deal.
You know the deal. I've gotten in almost scraps before when I was a doorman, and I've taken off my beanie, and then they see my ears, and they're like, "Oh man, I'm just playing with you." Like, cool. I'm like, yeah, we're cool. Sorry, I got dogs. I apologize.
No, we got dogs. We got dogs too. We love it.
Yeah.
More barking. That's cool.
So I get this text message while I'm shooting this commercial, and I'm trying to catch you up. It's quick. I move back, get a job as a doorman. I'm not going to be an electrician anymore. I'm a very burn the boats kind of guy, right? It's like when I'm done with that, I'm done with that. Right? I'm no longer going to be an electrician. I'm not going back to that. I'm not going back to fighting. I said, I'm done. Right? I commit. And I did the thing that I knew I could do and kind of reset my space. Went to the hot spot in the town, got a job. First place I walk in, take, head doorman position, gives me time to weight train, meet people, met my wife, right? A couple months into it. We get married 6 months later, all while I started gym, and I grow this gym from this little boutique gym underneath my apartment, and I'm walking down with my coffee each morning, training my clients, and I start doing group fitness out of it. And I grow out of that place, and I go out of another place, and now I have a 10,000 square foot gym and 2 kids, and I'm living downtown. And I'm like, that was a fast 2.5 years. And just as we had our first kid, and just as I launched Strong Coffee for the first time, my dad passes away. So the reason I was incentivized to put Strong Coffee in a bag the first time in 2013 was because he was never going to take these 7 ingredients and put it into a cup of coffee and blend it. Right. And effectively, not a lot of people were going to, right, take those steps for themselves to make themselves better. 9 out of 10 people, if given the opportunity to change themselves, will not take that change, right, to even save themselves. So you have to make it so easy. You have to make it passive in a way. So when my dad passed away, and I had my kids, I my gym, right? I'm putting everything into it, and then in so many ways, man, I felt like I missed so much opportunity to be with my dad, and I I found out some shit where my business partner stole fucking money. We were and this was anybody who knows that has a gym starting off, if you're paying your employees and you're doing everything right, you're not paying yourself that much money, right? You're having to personal train to cover your personal expenses. I have a family, right? All these things are happening. Well, right within my dad passing away, I get a call from Versace and from NBC. And Versace's we want you to be the face of our campaign with Gigi Hadid, and Alan Joban. It's paying this much. And NBC's we want you to be the star of this show, Strong. We're we're going to bring you in. You're the black sheep. You're going to disrupt everything. And I'm great, let's do it. And
I fucking love it.
And effectively, the show, the Versace campaign, let me tell you, I have had the carrot dangled one too many times. Within these stories, there are other stories. When we found out my wife was pregnant with my daughter, our first baby, we were on our way home from filming a movie for over a month, and I was the star of this movie. Tyron Woodley is in this movie, Imani Lee, rest in peace, Dan Henderson, other well-known UFC fighters. The movie got frozen. Never is going to see a light of day. I put a month and a half of my fucking life into that, 13 hours, 14 hours a day. staying up late at night, reading lines, like doing whatever. I was smoking cigarettes just to like stay in the part. And like, because I was just like alcoholic, like post like traumatic stress soldier who was having to fight his way out of an insane asylum, right? Find out my wife's pregnant on the way home. And, you know, I lead up, I get a call from people. I'm going to go shoot with Rihanna. I'm going to be the face of like her Fendi line. I'm sitting in a room waiting to go shoot with her, and I'm hearing how I'm not Tom Hardy. And they're like, well, Tom Hardy's not fucking in shape. This dude's in shape. Like, he's like, right? I go home on an empty plane with just a little check, not a big check, right? It's just little thing after little thing. And I think the thing here is that there is like no overnight, like, oh shit, that just happened for you, right? Because then I get to Versace, and the same fucking photographer that shot us was fingered in the Me Too shit. So that entire campaign, the biggest Versace campaign they have ever shot, they spent millions of dollars shooting this. Gigi Hadid, the model of the year, 2 years in a row, like all these dudes that were like supermodels. This massive photo shoot. I'm talking motorcycles on set doing fucking wheelies past us. We're fighting in the streets. You know, like it's like West Side Story, like told by Versace. Well, Bruce Weber gets implicated on touching men during photo shoots. So they kill that. NBC launches. It's the biggest show. 6 million viewers. Way bigger than Biggest Loser. NBC and Sony get into a fight and only sees one season. And it was just like the thing after the thing. But those things at least got me out to California, which gave me the next opportunity to start Strong Coffee again. And now it's in my control. That's what I learned from all that shit. Right? Like being an actor in somebody else's movie, fuck that. Right? Like being a coach in somebody else's program, fuck that. Right? Like for me, it was like make my own thing, do it my own way. And now it's been 4 years, and here I am.
Yeah.
You know?
What do you like about, what's the positive and the negative of being your, you know, the master of your own fate, if you will? Because all three of us sitting in here are working for ourselves, and I would choose this any day of the week over working for someone else. However, you know, it's not all butterflies and rainbows. So what, during this second launch of Strong Coffee, have you really thoroughly enjoyed this time around? And then what do you have to kind of battle through on this daily hustle?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think effectively being your own entrepreneur, being your own boss, right? There's a difference between making a job for yourself and creating a business, right? Learning how to delegate, bring on the right people to support you, effectively building something that maybe doesn't even need you one day because you do it so well. I've always tried to, this time around, I have given a lot of people chances, and to give myself a chance even to let go of certain things. I think all too often, though, people do it too early and they don't understand enough about their own business, and they effectively can't understand how to make it grow because they don't understand the foundation of it. For me, the hardest thing about being a business owner is looking at my employees during the tough times of growth and wondering if I'm going to be able to keep them on or if I'm going to have to fire them one day. Because every time that I put myself out there further and further, whether it's a global contract with Whole Foods, then getting mentioned on Joe Rogan, right? Like these like things that are happening around us that are uncontrollable. It's like businesses can shut down because of not having enough product, supply chains, right? Like being able to make enough, like Whole Foods changing laws on their packaging and us having to comply or be pulled off the shelf until October, you know, just like crazy shit that you're risking so much every time. And the last thing I'm going to do is like want to fire an employee, right? Like let go of that person, like tell them that, And there's been times, man, that I've just been like, fuck, dude, like I have to raise this $500,000 in 4 fucking days. Like we literally have X money in the bank. I need that money to pay the CrossFit games for the booth. I need the other money to put $100,000 down on this raw ingredients to get this into the manufacturer. That leaves us with $8,000. Like if I don't raise $500,000 before the end of the CrossFit games in 2021, it was like, we're not going to Whole Foods. I mean, I was literally like jumping in the back. We're selling out a product. I'm jumping in the back, taking phone calls, trying to, totally, yeah, yeah, for sure, man. 6 million valuation. Yeah, like we got Ray Lewis in this. You know, I'm like walking down the street, my phone's about to die. I'm talking to Ray Lewis. I'm talking to like VaynerMedia. I'm like talking to these people. My phone's about to die. I have my employee Justin jumping into people's yards to find an outlet. Wow. I'm like hiding in somebody's backyard, talking to fucking VaynerMedia. Dude, just like an extra 50,000. That's all we need. Yeah, we're off to the races. You know, I mean,
life of an entrepreneur.
Right.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Everybody's like, oh, it's so glamorous. Oh, really? I love that meme. That's like, oh, I used to work 9 to 5, blah, blah, blah. And then I decided to start my own business. Now I work 18 fucking hours a day. slams the shit down and fucking walks away.
Yeah,
I'm like, shit. I love it because what it ultimately allows me to do, this is the thing. Strong stands for striving to reach one's natural greatness. Or as a community, as a company, that's why we're Strong Coffee Company. It's important. The company you keep is strong, striving to reach our natural greatness. Effectively, it was important for me to do this because I found myself back in the training world, making ridiculous amounts of money per hour, working with 6, 7 people. And I'm like, I want to help millions. So that is what Strong Coffee was for me. It wasn't a market move. As a matter of fact, it was a stupid marketing move effectively like 3.5, 4 years ago. It's now just becoming a category, right? Where like 4 years ago in instant functional coffee, people were like, why don't you do a ready to drink? Right. And I was like, well, cost effective, environmental, sustainability conversations. We use 1/5 of the plastic of one bottle of one, ready to go coffee in a container, and you get 12, servings in this that you can make at your house, which you have water right at your house. Like you have water at your gym, right? You don't need to ship all this heavy shit around. It's like, hey, it's great. You drive a Prius, but you buy things that consume tons of freons and gas and have a massive environmental impact. Like, kudos. Me, I try to be proactive, like as far as I can, because I have kids and I'm like, I don't want them to see garbage on the streets. Strong Coffee.
Cool, man. So you obviously fought your way through that experience in 2021, and now here you are in the start of 2022. You're just at Wadapalooza.
Yep.
Where do you see yourself? We're a CrossFit podcast primarily. Where do you see yourself in the CrossFit space?
Dude, that's a great question. I love CrossFit, the sport. I used to be a co-host of Barbell Shrugged 4 years ago. I was a co-host for almost 8 months on that show. I've been always around the space. I've never participated in it. I've done some workouts. I've, had some injuries that just kind of keep me from wanting to do certain things. And each time I do a CrossFit workout with one of my buddies, I get hurt just a little bit. So I'm like, barbells are not for me. I love heavy kettlebells. I love heavy shit. What I love is the community. I really enjoy the community. I was a trainer. When I was a trainer in LA, I trained out of Deuce Gym, right? I've always been around that kind of community. I owned a gym that effectively I wanted it to be like CrossFit, but I wanted it to fit my movement capacity, kettlebells, rings, boxing bags, right? My modalities, but a similar mentality, right? I love the idea that they were some of the first people out the gate too with COVID and just everything, and just like getting back out there, because like that is like the strength of the community, like the strength that they have is they're like, no, we're all like, we're healthy, we're going to get together and we're going to do this thing. And I think that's amazing. And since day one, I have had Strong Coffee in CrossFit, right? from being the co-host of Barbell Shrugged to going to like Invictus for regionals and serving coffee. Sam Dancer is a co-owner of Strong Coffee, right? Like we have tons of CrossFit athletes. Those are the only athletes we even focus on at all, because I believe that they understand the quality of ingredients and the importance of performance far more than almost any other community, and are just type A enough to want to measure things, to want to like measure also maybe what they're eating and consuming. And just like, it's just all these like little pieces. I love people who wake up early in the morning, drink a cup of coffee that has enhanced ingredients, and then goes and crushes a workout all before 7 or 8 or 9 a.m. Right? Like that to me is an awesome group of people. Right.
That's just these y'all. Right. I'm still in bed.
I want to come up with an alarm clock that just doesn't have a snooze on it. That's buy Strong Coffee.
There you go.
Like 30 minutes earlier every time, and you're like, what the fuck? This thing's broken.
That's good.
But yeah, man, that's a great question, because I would love, man, if my shoulder was good. I have an old video of me, my very first clean, power cleaning 275, and I never cleaned a day in my life. But you asked me to go overhead, and it's like, nope, not this shoulder.
Yeah. Christian, I have a feeling I'll know one of your hot seat answers from Adam.
True.
You have a question you're about to ask him?
Yeah. Adam, where can people find your stuff? Aside from the website. Are you guys just in Whole Foods? Yeah. So
if the website's the best, I mean, honestly, because of the savings you can see from like buying it in a bag or getting the subscription. I always want to make sure that like, can I afford it? Or like somebody like me, right, who's building a business and so on. So I think that the subscription is awesome, because you get to save money and you can cancel at any time. If somebody's like, I want to run out, I want to try this magical shit right now, we're in every Whole Foods in America. So that happened 2 months ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah, man, it's wild. Thank you so much. I mean, I walked in and I was just like dumbfounded. I mean, I had investors who have since been removed from the board. I bought them out or got them bought out, who even thought like, you're not going to compete in coffee, stick to supplements. And it's like, don't tell me how to do my shit. And here we are in the coffee lane, crushing it, and it's like, for me, I think that's awesome to see that.
What are the key ingredients, or what are the ingredients that are in the coffee for the listeners out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think the essential ingredients are 15 grams of grass-fed collagen protein, 5 grams of coconut MCTs. So it's a combination of coconut oil, MCTs, 45% MCT oil, way easier on the stomach than a conventional MCT oil. And it's going to give you the same caprolipic, like all these lauric acids that people are looking for that are beneficial and good on the stomach, good for like gut lining. The key ingredients for your brain are really going to be the L-theanine and the organic coffee berry, also known as or trademarked as Neurofactor. The reason it's trademarked under Neurofactor is there is a specific study that was done that showed that this coffee berry extract, Neurofactor, effectively increases an essential protein in the brain, a neuroprotein in the brain, dramatically, like 200% almost. It's 143%, right? What that neuroprotein does, BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factors, it actually protects your brain from neurodegenerative diseases and shows that people who have high amounts of BDNF in their brain have like learning is easier. Cognitive development, right? So it's coffee that actually helps you focus and actually learn tasks easier. And like there's white paper studies that show that this is true. Like I'm not just blowing marketing smoke. I think the other two really sexy ingredients in it that a lot of people, wouldn't think about outside of proteins, fats, and brain nutrients is the fact that we focus on hydration. There's a blend of Himalayan sea salt, hyaluronic acid, and coconut water extract. So magnesium, potassium, and sodium. And then we use hyaluronic acid, which holds 2,000 to 3,000 times its molecular weight in water. So it's a super hydrator. It effectively can help hydrate, but it also can help pass nutrients through the blood-brain barrier. Not a lot of people talk about the blood-brain barrier because if they did, most mental supplements wouldn't work effectively, right? Because the brain has a barrier that says, I'm not going to let you in. So you need subdermal carriers. Hyaluronic is that. Another really good one is emu oil, but you have to harvest emus, which is, maybe a waste for just oil. But I gave you a pretty in-depth answer of the essential ingredients and what they all do.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, man, I'm a nerd. Nerd who just got enough tattoos and worked out enough to not look like a nerd anymore. But when effectively, I fucking love the science of it and supplements. But I also love the idea of making a really delicious cup of coffee because I don't want to drink a supplement, period. Like I really don't, I don't want to fruit punch nothing. I don't want a coconut watermelon, hydro, salt, anything. Like I don't want any of that shit. Like it's just, for me, it's like, it's all so overpowering and just kind of fake tasting that I'm just like, it's just like modern day candy, put into like a health claim. And for me, it was like, I want to enjoy my cup of coffee in the morning. And I want somebody, if I sell this for $6.50 at a CrossFit event, to be fucking stoked that they bought it and that they spent $6.50 on it. Right. And not like walk away like, oh, fuck, this is awful, right? Because other people are giving their samples away and we're selling them, right? And for me, that's awesome because it gives people a true opportunity to have an entire glass and feel the benefits that it has because it does give you instant, you feel it, you're like, that's strong coffee. And that's not caffeine, right? It's only 120 to 150 milligrams of caffeine per latte.
I love it. Love it. Love it.
Christian, hot seat. This is it.
Hot seat time. You ready?
Let's do it.
You're ready. You're ready for anything, bro. After this conversation, I know what you're about. You're ready for anything.
Oh.
All right. A couple quick ones here. Would you rather move fast or lift heavy?
Move fast.
Coffee or pre-workout?
Coffee.
Current favorite sneaker?
Air Jordan 1 Retro.
If you had to pick one movement for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Heaven and earth with my collie sticks. Something about the pattern, moving my sticks like that is extremely meditative.
Current favorite song?
Current favorite song, Ramen and OJ.
I'm going to throw a bonus one here. Favorite way to prepare your coffee?
Favorite way to prepare my coffee. I take a scoop of strong coffee morning fix. I put it in a mug. I pour hot water, 8 to 10 ounces over it. I stir it. I smell it. It's a little, and I take a sip and it's lights out. Over. And sometimes there may even be a joint on the side.
Man, crushed
Love
that.
Crushed it. That might be one of the best hot seats.
I'm telling you.
That was up there right there.
That might have taken the cake right there for sure.
All
right, Adam, so grateful for you spending time. Everyone listening, check out the description of this episode for the links, for the handles on the gram to follow along. Again, we really appreciate you. Thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Later.
Great chatting with you.
All right, another coffee man. We love Adam.
Hell yeah.
And I love, I love stories like that, the ups and downs, talking about the butterflies and rainbows and all that. It's good to be real. It's good to hear people and see that we all go through shit, right? But you got to just keep going through it and not let it derail you, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that's an entrepreneur out there, if you've been in the game for at least 6 months, you've had to have some sort of resiliency to stay in the game. And, Adam has been a great example of that. I mean, if you listen to the story, I mean, it's incredible the amount of ups and downs that he's had throughout his journey to where he is now. So very inspiring story.
You're a very inspiring story. Talk to you later, bro. Good to see you.
I appreciate it.
All right, later.
Later.
Everyone. That's it. Move Fast, Lift Heavy podcast with co-host Christian Harris, our guest Adam von Rothfelder, and myself, Joe Roscoe. If you haven't gone to the website, movefastlift.heavy.com, check us out. All things training and apparel. You can train just like the man, CH there, train with CH, and you can also rep the brand MFLH. Until next time, we'll see you when we see you. Later.